And now it's time for Windy City Sports Talk. And your host, Ryan Young.
Hello, Chicago! Welcome to this live Tuesday, October the 4th edition of Windy City Sports Talk. I am Ryan Young. For the next half hour, we're going to recap and preview everything going on and get you set for this Tuesday night. Of course, Chicago sports really take a back seat until the weekend. So until then, we'll keep it going. Of course, we've been previewing the playoffs for about 2 weeks now, and we finally get a chance to preview something, and we'll finally get some results out of the playoffs starting tonight. We'll get into that a little bit later on. I got my playoff predictions to the World Series. I'm not going to predict the World Series winner, but I'm going to predict my thoughts on what's going to happen in each round, and we'll see what happens there. But let's start this off by getting into some Chicago sports that took place last night. The Chicago Bulls were in action at the Madhouse as they welcomed in the Milwaukee Bucks. Only watched the first quarter, really wanted to get a chance to see this Bulls team get an opportunity to play and see what they represent. And, I was comfortable with that team out on the floor when you got Robin Lopez as your center and Taj Gibson as your power forward. And then you bring in, then you have Jimmy Butler, who's the leader. And then you got your two new guys that I think are going to really help score. I mean, obviously Robin Lopez is new too. But when you have Rajon Rondo as your point guard and Dwayne Wade as your shooting guard, I'm content with that lineup. And I said it on Twitter last night. If this team can stay healthy, they have the potential to be a 2nd to 8th seed, because you almost got to say the first seed's going to go to the Cavs unless maybe they get that lackluster. It'll be a fun matchup again. Last year wasn't fun. Everyone was hurt. This year has the potential to be another fun matchup. Of course, when you get a chance to see LeBron and Dwayne Wade battle each other again. And, of course, the other matchups that are going to be fun are going to be the Bulls when they face the Knicks at the Madhouse. I don't think it's really called the Madhouse for the Bulls, so should we just go to UC? Okay. As they'll face when they face the Knicks is going to be fun. And, obviously, because Derrick Rose and Joakim Noah. And Derrick Rose says he'll miss the next about a week of preseason because he's got his court hearing in Los Angeles for the rape investigation. So we'll see what happens there. And then you have when they face the Heat in Miami. I believe they face they face the Knicks at the United Center, and they go to Miami all in like the first couple of weeks of the regular season. I have the schedule saved on my phone. Let's take a look here and see what we got. The Bulls will open up October 27th at home against Boston, and in Indiana at home against Indiana. And then they go to Brooklyn to Boston. Friday, November the 4th, they'll be home to face Derrick Rose and the Knicks. Then they'll be at Miami Thursday, November the 10th, which will be probably a TNT game. So that's their stretch. Then they have a home game against Washington, and they start their circus trip. So, I mean, you get them 2 games out of the way early. Well, who would get it? Like, if you could put that into perspective of who's going to get an ovation, you got to think that maybe does Derrick Rose get an ovation? He put this town. The stuff that he said was stupid. I mean, he brought an MVP here. He took this team to the Eastern Conference Finals a couple times. I think Tom Thibodeau, when he comes back with the Wolves, I think will have a better ovation than Derrick Rose. Joakim Noah, I think he did everything he was supposed to do here. He was passionate, really got the crowd pumped up. I think this team, that's the one thing they might be missing this year, is a guy that really amp everything up and really get this team together. And Jimmy Butler, his first real year as the main guy. Even though we got some practice last year with Derrick Rose being hurt, but still, you want that opportunity, and I think we'll see what happens. So they did lose last night, 93-91, but I don't think it's anything to really scoff at. It's the first preseason game. A lot of fouls and a lot of passing mistakes. So really, that's probably really all I'm going to talk about when it comes to basketball until we get to the end of October. A week from tomorrow, the Blackhawks begin. Nicholas Hjalmarsson going to be suspended for a game. Suspended the rest of the preseason in the opener against the Blues for a hit, I believe, on a Blues player. Now, like I said, I'm not big into hockey, but I will cover it. I'll talk about what happened. I don't know all the players. I can't say all their names. Hockey is my fourth sport. but I will. This is a Chicago sports talk show, and I will address the Hawks. And maybe if I stay in depth with it and stay tuned to it, maybe I'll start to fall in love with it as much as I do with baseball and basketball. And football, it's my third sport, but baseball's my love. And we get to the most exciting part of baseball coming up starting tonight, and even when your team's in it. I mean, last year we did this show. I only did it for a couple of months, but last year when you got into talking about this show, when we got into this talking about that one-game playoff, which was definitely the most exciting time of the year, my favorite day as a Cub fan was definitely that game against Pittsburgh. Not even the game that they beat St. Louis. I think the game in Pittsburgh, to really get that first feel of, okay, we're in, I think was the funnest time. And I think that was my favorite moment last year. And hopefully a couple of moments surpass that. Some more stuff on the Cubs front, at least. You have the two games, I kind of brought it up yesterday, I was in the Windy City Sports Minute, but the start times for games 1 and 2. Game 1 will be Friday night at 8 p.m. I'm debating what time to do my show. Do I do the normal 3 o'clock, which is 5 hours before first pitch, but there'll be there'll be games from noon till that time, or do I do it at like 7:30 right before we get ready to go on? Still not sure, but I know I'm staying home most likely because Saturday I'm going to that game, my first rooftop, which I'm very, very excited for, and hopefully there could be a couple W's there. I mean, you don't want to go to San Francisco, you don't want to go to New York down. Yeah, I don't even think you want to go 1-1 because you have to face either Mad Bum or Syndergaard. I think the Cubs have to take the first 2 at home. You've played so well at your home ballpark, you got to win them. But then I'm wondering, we'll get into all the in-depth stuff later, but scheduled for 8 o'clock start. That is late for a Friday night, which again, Friday night games, I don't think they had one last year in the playoffs because they played the first 2 in St. Louis the weekend, and then they played at Wrigley Monday, Tuesday, or Tuesday, Wednesday, or whatever it was. I think it was Monday, Tuesday. And then they clinched it on Tuesday, started the next series on Saturday, because the series between the Dodgers and the Mets went into 5 games, so they had to wait till Saturday. And then they played Saturday, Sunday in New York, and then they went Tuesday, Wednesday. So they didn't have a weekend. This time they're setting it up big. And because I'll be there Saturday. And of course, I found this out last year during that game 1 against the Mets. I went down there for Cubs were on the road, but I went down there to watch the game at a bar and realized that the buses don't stop running at 9 o'clock. But talked to my dad, called CTA today, and there will be buses available, obviously, for the playoffs game on Saturday, which is good because gotta be out of there by 10 to make the 10:52 train back to Wisconsin, and then I don't get home till midnight. Then we got the Bears, but hopefully it's all worth it. I'll take all that for a win, a 2-0 lead, if you will. Now there's panic last year when this team lost game 1 to the Cardinals. They were expected. This year I think the pressure's on. You want more. You don't want to have to be done. You don't want to get eliminated less than you were last year. You want to get a win in the NLCS. But again, you got to cross that bridge before you get there, and hopefully, a week from today when we're talking, and we obviously will have answers, hopefully the Cubs are either up 3-1 or 2-1 and looking to win it, or they clinched it on Monday. But still got a lot of time. I mean, we've been hyping the playoffs since we started this show because we knew that they were in. And now it just seems like Friday's taking forever. Now you got to wait till 8 o'clock. And I was talking with people on Twitter yesterday. They're like, oh, at least your game's not at noon. Well, I'd rather have my game at noon. Or 3, preferably, because I work Friday. I want to be able to see my team and enjoy it. 8 o'clock is a late start. Game ends at 11. That city's going to be crazy. A Saturday night game, which they rarely do. Friday nights they never do. But a Saturday night game, still a Friday night at 8 o'clock. All four series are on Friday, as the AL starts on Thursday. So again, we'll still have a lot of playoffs to talk about as we get you ready for, as we still get you ready for the Cubs. So as we finally find an opponent tomorrow night. We still got a lot of ifs and if you will. So we'll see what happens there, but that's my vent about that. Last night, Monday Night Football, the Falcons weren't even in there. It's the Vikings and the Giants. I don't know where I got Falcons because I've been hearing about Matt Ryan and Julio Jones all day. But the Giants became the Giants. A lot of worries about Odell Beckham Jr., who had his worst game. I had to last night, and I guess this can go into our fantasy focus. Last night, I did not have to face, or last night I was up by like almost 100 points, but he had Eli Manning, Odell Beckham Jr., and a couple of other guys. And I knew I was going to win, but Odell Beckham had his worst game of his career. Eli had an interception where I don't know what wide receiver it was, but he was going one way, the ball was thrown the other, and easily picked off by the Minnesota Vikings, and they're 4-0. Coming from a standpoint of the Bears that don't look like they're going to be back in the division race at all, I'd rather see the Vikings. I'm glad to see the Vikings do what they're doing. As long as it ain't the Packers, why not? Keep doing what you're doing. Sam Bradford's working. The new stadium, I think, is really helping, make it very loud. So why not? And I think they played an extremely good job. And when you look at my fantasy focus, my final was 114 to 48.5. I was 0-2. I'm back to 2-2. Trying to get that push. I had Flacco yesterday. I had Flacco on, as you hear, come to be Silver Lake's theme song is the Sirens. Not in Chicago. I had Flacco. Yesterday he had Eli Manning, who was 25 of 45 with one interception, so that one interception was at 261, not bad. But then he had Darkwa Orleans, the running back for the Giants, didn't even play. He had Odell Beckham Jr. Or no, he did play. He had 6 rushes for 12 yards. And, or no, excuse me, that's Darkwa, 12 rushes for 48 yards. Odell Beckham Jr. had 3 receptions for 23 yards, which is the worst of his career. And then he had Mike Wallace, who didn't do well, so I did good. I'm okay with that. Now, of course, the buys really start setting, so I go to 2-2, beat a guy that was 0-3. I'll take it. I'm in a division called O.J. Simpson, and there's another one, Aaron Hernandez. I find that funny. But this week I face the commissioner of the league. And we'll get into that actually Friday's going to be more all Cubs. But I believe he's 2-2 as well. And quick preview here. He's got Ben Roethlisberger, Freeman, Giovanni Bernard, Will Fuller, Alshon Jeffrey, Dwayne Allen. I got Flacco, Howard, Smallwood, Jones, Cruz. He's still got a guy. He's got the Chiefs' defense in there on a bye, so hopefully he'll keep that in there. I got Nick Novak, so we'll see what happens there. But overall, I'll stay calm and get ready for hopefully try to go to 3-2 on my fantasy football. But anyway, that's that. We still got playoff predictions I'm going to do through the World Series. Preview the AL Wild Card game, which is tonight. As the playoffs finally begin, which seems like for a Cub fan has been forever. But first, we got the Windy City Sports Minute that begins right now. This is your Windy City Sports Minute for Tuesday, October the 4th. No baseball action on Monday night as the playoffs begin tonight, as it'll be the Orioles and the Blue Jays, 7 p.m. on TBS. Chris Tillman at 16-6 for the Orioles. It'll be Stroman on the bump for those Blue Jays, 9-10 with a 4.37. In other Chicago sports, the Bulls opened the preseason last night on a 93-91 loss to the Bucks. Did get a chance to see Dwayne Wade and the new-looked Chicago Bulls in action. And, of course, the regular season will tip off on October the 27th. Arnold Palmer, the golf legend, laid to rest today. They had the memorial service for the golfer. And that is your Windy City Sports Minute. Now back to Windy City Sports Talk. Welcome back here to Windy City Sports Talk. Halfway through, 15 down, 15 left. Before we get into my playoff predictions and the preview of the AL Wild Card, I want to read you the end of a story I saw today in on ESPN. It was written want to say it was written by Sarah Spain. Sarah Spain of ESPN. This is on ESPN.com. Where's the last part I wanted to read? Okay, so this is the end of the article. No matter what happens this October, the Cubs are on the right track. They're full of young talent. They've got a great manager. The mastermind behind it, Theo Epstein, just signed a 5-year extension. But even as I try to convince myself that a loss wouldn't be the end of the world, I know deep down there's always next year. Just doesn't feel right this time around. So whenever my brain starts to fill up with worst-case scenarios, I have to remind myself that this team is not the Cubs of old. We can saddle these guys with the struggles of their predecessors. That there are no curses, just bad outings, sleepy bats, and bungled double plays. There are no curses, just bad outings, sleepy bats, and bungled double plays by Alex Gonzalez. This team will be different. This is the year. I'm going to embrace every second of October baseball with confidence and enthusiasm and a medic on standby. It's completely how I feel. I mean, I very well doubt myself or doubt this team. I have worries. I just have a feeling that what's going to happen. I mean, and the thing I'm annoyed with is that if they do lose, I have to sit here and defend my teams. Oh, they choked. They don't choke. Last year they didn't choke. They ran into a very hot Mets team that just did it, and they could run into another hot Mets team. So I think right now, you just gotta. This isn't what's going to happen. If they lose, they're going to lose to the better team in 7 or 5 games. That's it. That's all you got to worry about. I'm going to enjoy, like I did last year. I was I wouldn't say stupid, but just having 8 or 7 years of consecutive losing, you just embrace all of it. You know what you're getting into this year. I told many people after they had a tremendous April, I was ready for the playoffs already. So Friday, I've been waiting for since probably the 1st of May. So that's pretty much where I stand with that, and I'm going to enjoy everything. There'll be nervousness. It's going to happen. What do you expect? I mean, a lot of the beginning of the DS and the CS are on weekends. So I don't exactly have to embrace myself. I can let it soak all in before I have to talk to you folks on Mondays. But we'll see. It's Friday still a ways away. Now let's talk about playoff predictions. I'm going to give you right now my picks before one ball is thrown in the playoffs and see if I am anywhere near right. Let's start here with the American League Wild Card game, which will be tonight. And we'll be previewing that in following this. So I'm going to write this all in, and this is my prediction, and see how many I can get right. Orioles at Blue Jays tonight. Orioles, when you look at the pitching matchup, it's Stroman against, which is Marcus Stroman. I almost said Braun Strowman. For you wrestling fans, you'll understand in the Windy City Sports Minute, against Chris Tillman. I got Blue Jays tonight. So that means you'll have Blue Jays Rangers, which I've been waiting for, and I want to see a rematch. I want to see the continuation of the soap opera between Jose Bautista and Rougned Odor. So you got on that side Blue Jays, Rangers. Or no, let's go Giants, Mets. Now, on paper, for the better team to face the Cubs advantage, I want the Mets to win. But if I'm going on bold predictions, tomorrow, when you got Bumgarner against Syndergaard, I'm going to say Giants win. So let's go to the American League Division Series. Blue Jays and Rangers. I'm going to say Rangers advance. Then you got Red Sox, Indians. Part of me said that whoever wins that series is going to go to the World Series. And I think they're going to go on the back of David Ortiz. I got Red Sox. So your American League Championship Series, Red Sox, Rangers. Let's shift gears now to the National League. Cubs, Giants. Now, I think the Cubs pitching matches up good. But I think the pitching might be in the advantage of the Giants. But I think part of me... These predictions do not mean I do not root for my team. Cubs, Giants, National League Division Series. I'm going to go upset and say Giants. Giants upset the Cubs in the Division Series. Dodgers, Nationals. Nationals are hurt. I'm going to go Dodgers. So you get the Dodger-Giant rivalry in the National League Championship Series to the American League Championship Series. Red Sox, Rangers. I don't think the Rangers get there again. I say Red Sox. Then for the National League, I think the Giants are going to ride the every other. I think it's two teams with the best. I mean, the Cubs are always the best storyline. But then you got Red Sox, Giants as your World Series. And I'm not going to pick a winner because I'm not going there. I think my gut is telling me right now that this is just my sport. Like if I went to Vegas and bet, this is how I would do it. I'd say Giants win the wild card, they upset the Cubs. But I obviously am rooting for my team to win. I'm rooting for my team, obviously. I've rooted for this team since 98 when I was 7 years old and fell in love with them. And nothing is changing with that. I love the Cubs. Like some sports, like some fans don't understand. Like I don't know how there's fans that can go out there and not know what team. If you're a fan, you know who you root for. It's a passion. It's almost a disease. Your world is revolved around it. And I don't know if this is just me, and it might be a Cub fan thing, but it's just I was talking in the car with my family a couple of weeks ago, and I said the three things on my list: Cubs, family, breathing, in that order. It's revolved around. It's just an obsession. That's the word. It's an obsession. From day one of spring training, from day one to spring training to whenever they're done. That's it. And then guess what? They're back in March again. So it's just something that I love this team. Will the day happen? I've said from the beginning 2017. Now, there is no excuse for this team not to have a title by the end of next season. Now, if I throw this out the door, I mean, like I said, I got Giants upsetting the Cubs in the DS. Maybe it needs one more year for this team to fully function and add one more player. But then does Chapman stay? Does he feel like this team has a better chance of winning a World Series than they going back to the Yankees or somewhere else? I think it's gonna be fun to tell. Now I don't want people harping on me because these are just my predictions. If I went to Vegas, that's what I'd go with. The odds for the Cubs are 7-4. So you know how much money I would get betting Red Sox Giants World Series before a pitch is thrown in the playoffs? And then if I can get that far, and I'll give you a World Series prediction anyway. But that's my picks. And I thought I was going to pick the Cubs to go deep, and I'm not. There's something in the pit of my stomach that tells me this is not the year. I mean, they've won 102 games. I'm hearing all the doubters, but guess what? I'm still going to support them, still going to love them, until they're officially done. Last year, it was easier to acknowledge because you had a full game because you knew when they were down 3-0, they were done. So now this year, what happens? Do they run into Mad Bum? Do they run into Samardzija doing it? Can they take out the beast? I think if they get by, if the Giants don't even win tomorrow night, then my whole thing goes out the window, and I think the Cubs are favored against the Mets for sure. And then who knows what happens after that? A lot of things go into it, and I think so this whole thing could be wrong. One wild card. I got a wild card team going to the World Series. So if the Giants lose tomorrow, then it's done. At least my bracket is. Or if the Mets win tomorrow. Which is going to be a fun game to talk about as well. We got 5 minutes remaining. It's time to preview what we got on tap tonight. From a Chicago point of view, Blackhawks are in action tonight. I'm not sure against who, but is it the Penguins again? I don't think so. But anyway, it's a preseason game. They only got a couple left. as the regular season, I guess, is a week from tomorrow. So, you got that. That'll be on Comcast Sportsnet 7:30 at the Madhouse on Madison. And then, now the AL wildcard game tonight, Orioles at Blue Jays. That place is going to be raucous. That place is going to be bumping. Roof closed at the Rogers Center, the Sky Dome in Toronto. 7 p.m. TBS. Now, last year, the National League was all covered on TBS. And so maybe with the NL, Joe Buck, if the Cubs get to the NLCS, Joe Buck gets to call Cub games. And the World Series, of course. So if they get there, maybe Joe Buck's the good luck charm. Because even in 03, and in 08, in 07, 08, everything was TBS. They haven't gotten Fox. This year they got MLB Network on Saturday, and Fridays on FS1, which won't be Joe Buck. So I think the Cubs have to make it to the NLCS for Joe Buck to have to. And whenever they do win it, if they win it, he's going to be the one to make the call because he does everything. They don't rotate like they do in the NFL. But anyway, you got Chris Tillman 16-6 with a 377 against Marcus Stroman 9-10 with a 437. I think when you look at this matchup, pitching wise, I think you got to go with the Blue Jays, and I said it in the predictions. I got the Blue Jays winning tonight. I think they got motivation. They want to meet with the Rangers. I think TV markets, CBS wants them to meet with the Rangers. That series will begin Thursday night, whoever it is, in Texas. And I believe the Cleveland Red Sox series will probably be the last of that. But I think right there, Stroman, if he can remain calm, again, he's young, but he pitched very well in the playoffs last year. Remember, I think this is the momentum for them, has the ability. I mean, last year, and I just said in my predictions, last year Texas was outmatched by Toronto. I think Texas comes in more prepared and focused, and maybe it's the Blue Jays. They're going to go in there saying, you know what, you punched my player, we're going to get back at you. And I think they're going to lose their heads, and they're going to get costed. But I think they win tonight. I think Marcus Stroman is a good pitcher. I think he's going to be better than Chris Tillman. But if Stroman throws some over the plate, they got some dangerous hitters on this team. They got Mark Trumbo. They got Adam Jones. They have Manny Machado. They have a bunch of guys. Chris Davis. I mean, can the list go on and on? Plus, Chris Davis used to be a Ranger. So I think this team offensively, if Stroman can hit his spots, it's an easy win for the Baltimore, for the Toronto Blue Jays because they got bats as well. This could be a 9-8 game or 10-9. I think that's what you're looking at tonight. If Stroman isn't hitting his spots, if he hits his spots, it's whatever team can score first. And I think Tillman is going to get hurt. I don't think he's going to last long. They might have to go to the bullpen. And will Buck Martinez be able to do that? Or not Buck Martinez, Buck Showalter. Buck Martinez is a Blue Jays announcer. I believe he used to be a manager also, and a player. But anyway, so tonight I see Baltimore winning. Toronto winning. And then going forward, I think you got to look at this team being... I want to see them in the Rangers, so that's why I want them to win. But I think overall, when you got Stroman going on the bump, then I think their pitching problems might come into effect in Texas, but not sure after that. But that's that. Also today, Arnold Palmer they had the memorial service for him today. Great job by Jim Nantz. He had a good speech. I only watched a couple minutes of it, but that's the only part I saw. So rest in peace to Arnold Palmer. Still no news anywhere. I believe the toxicology reports will be coming up soon on Jose Fernandez and the bodies in that boating accident. It's nice to see that. I believe he had a life insurance policy, and then I think $1.5 million is going to go to the daughter, probably when she's 18. So yeah, so that's that. So tomorrow we're going to recap the AL wildcard game, preview the NL wildcard game, and continue to get in the motions. So hope you guys enjoyed the show. I had some upset picks for my playoffs. We'll see if I'm right or if I'm just crazy, but them are the things I take to Vegas. Everyone have a great Tuesday and enjoy the beginning of playoff baseball, and we'll be back tomorrow to recap it. I'm Ryan. Have a great day, Chicago.